Good morning. Got my coffee in hand. I hope you have yours. Today, gonna need a cup of coffee. I want to talk about auditory senses. And it's a topic that, is honestly is very emotional for me because I had an issue with auditory, very much like the visual. Um, I could not repeat words that were said. My mind couldn't remember. I could hear you for a moment. As long as you were speaking, I could hear you. But the moment you stopped, it was gone. Just gone. And I couldn't try any harder to hear you. I mean, I heard you when you were speaking, but my mind did not process it. It didn't understand it. It heard it. But the moment you stopped talking, it was gone. And it's important to understand that there's a lot of energy in the words that you speak. Every word that you say has an energy behind it. And I think a lot of times people don't understand that. Even the little words that you think have no meaning. If you're a person who is sensitive to energy, and let me tell you that most people with autism that I have encountered are very sensitive to energy. It's that sixth sense. When children start interacting with the world, they kind of get rid of their sixth sense and they're not aware of that energy anymore because they're using their words and they're speaking and they're expressing themselves through words. But for a person with autism who doesn't interact with the world that way, that sixth sense is still very much intact. And so there's a lot of energy behind your words, and that is what they're feeling. And I know for me, if a person had a negative energy, I'd go the opposite way. I didn't want anything to do with it. And at the same time, if there was a positive energy, but it was, overwhelming positive, I wasn't attracted to that either. And again, I would go away. It was that neutral, calm energy that would attract me. And I just realized that I say a lot. This is going to be one of my, it's going to be one of the things that I'm going to work on. And you're going to see me working on it as I'm talking, because it's one of those things where I think out loud a lot of times. Thinking in my head is not something that I do. I've never done it. It's very uncomfortable. If I'm thinking in my head, I'm not aware I'm doing it, and I don't do it on purpose. When I'm even talking here, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say. It's just going to come out of my mouth. So when I go it's because I've got to stop and force my brain to think about what it is I'm trying to say and get it out of my mouth. And again, this goes back to the auditory. When I was working, the most traumatizing part of me working was when I had to answer the phone. I mean, I'm out there, I'm trying to work, I'm doing it, I'm doing the best I can. And my boss would say, well, I'll be back in a couple hours. You go ahead and answer the phone and take a message. And I'd watch him leave and I'd be like, oh my God, yeah, that's not happening. I'd answer the phone and I would do my very best to hear him. And then as soon as they'd hang up, I'd go, okay, I'm ready to write. And there's nothing to write. And here's the thing, I can't listen to the phone and write at the same time. It's just not going to happen. It's the same with our students. It's the same with children all over the world with autism or auditory processing. I can't listen to you and write at the same time. It's not going to happen. So we have to find another way of communicating and getting through to. And that's what I'm working on. That's all part of this. Why I'm doing this, because I want to get to the bottom of it. I want to come up with a solution. And it's not that I don't want to listen. One of the most traumatizing things I remember was somebody I cared a lot about and was in my face yelling at me. Your problem is you're just not listening. And I looked at him and said, I'm trying. And that will cause a meltdown, quicker and lickety split. And you're not going to get anywhere yelling at somebody and saying those words, because that's not true. And I say this with my whole heart because it happens a lot. I've seen it over and over, and it's hard for me to be quiet because I want to walk over and say, excuse me. But, of course we can't do that. My children, growing up, my children would say, Mom, my friend called and you hung up on my friend. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. I'd hang up on them. Oh, well, I'm so sorry. But, that's all part of it. And, it's part of the things that I want to discover. And if you'd like to continue on this journey with me, just hit the subscribe button. And join me tomorrow, because tomorrow I want to talk about food and taste. Because that was a lot of fun. So that's a wrap. Just remember, everyone has a story to tell. And this is just mine.